Hey family, Dr. Dorsey here, and welcome to Next Level Conversations, where we don't just talk about growth, we ignite it. Every time we get together, we dive into transformative insights, breakthrough strategies, and high impact wisdom designed to elevate your mindset, sharpen your leadership, improve your fitness and wellness, and of course, fuel your success. So whether you're here to level up in business, relationships, get more fit, get well, heal, personal mastery, or anything that you're focusing on, you're in the right place. Here is my promise to you. Promise to maximize your time. Promise to encourage you to take action. Promise you to focus on growth, and I promise you to be in the moment. I need you to make the same promise to yourself. We are here to help you get to the next level. So let's get into it. I am fortunate enough to be joined by somebody who just continues to represent next level thinking. He has several things that he knows how to do, but we know fitness and wellness is one of his top priorities. I just gazed at some of his results and really peered into some things he's passionate about. And I wanted to be sure that we extended an opportunity for him to come and speak with us today. You may know him already, but for some of you, may be meeting him for the first time, excited to have him say what's up to you. Would you guys put some hearts, put something in the chat, and welcome the one and the only Nate Chambers Jr. in the building. Let's go.
Dr. Dorsey, I appreciate you for allowing me on the platform, sir. That was a great intro. I mean, you would think this guy knew me for a few years the way he edified me right there. No, I appreciate it. Nate Chambers from Baltimore, Maryland. Newly CPT, just got my certification 2 weeks ago, actually. Online coach. And I put connector down is because I believe that's my purpose. I'm a believer in the Lord, and I believe he's put me on this planet to connect people and to love people and to lead people to him. And so I try to do that throughout my work. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So thank you so much for being here. I have told you privately, and I want to tell you publicly that I admire you. I just got an opportunity to be able to look at from the aesthetic, some of the things you've been able to accomplish. And I reached out to you partially because it was a sort of step of faith for me. And we want to be intentional about the people that we put in this space. But you were representing that. I was actually saying earlier that your habits and your commitments speak before you do. And so what you have been representing spoke. And so that prompted me and the team to reach out to you and invite you into the space. So we're going to have an amazing conversation. I'm really interested in just as a start, right? Like, where are you from? You always lived in Maryland, and have you always been passionate about what you're passionate about? Could you give us some sense of maybe where you're from?
Yeah, so I'm from Baltimore, Maryland originally, and a lot of people from Baltimore kind of get a bad rap, but my parents were born in the projects. My dad is 77, so I got an older dad. My mom is a little bit younger, but I really just pride myself in taking care of my family. I have 3 sisters, only boy, the youngest. So that's the environment I come from. I've been raised well, both parents in my life, not together. But for me, it's just all having a sense of where what am I believing in, and what is the higher power that I'm following, and that's just kind of where I'm from. I feel like God put me here for a specific reason, and that was to protect, provide, and connect, and that's kind of what I believe in.
Sure, man. 3 sisters. Whew.
Yeah.
Are they your older sisters, your younger sisters?
Older.
Yeah. So you're the baby.
I'm the baby, and people might say, "Oh, the baby gets spoiled."
Hey, no. Now I'm the baby. Now we in the fans.
Okay, good. Because
yeah.
The babies, we don't get the long leash, especially me being the only boy. Of course, I got to do things that my sisters couldn't do, but I believe as a man, you got to make better choices. And all my sisters have kids, so I'm the cool uncle right now. So I'm loving it. I ain't got no kids yet, and I'm chilling. I forgot to tell everybody my age too. I'm 26. A lot of people may say I'm a little older, or look a little older, but I'm 26.
Yeah, man, that's a real significant accomplishment, man. I have nothing but love for Baltimore. I got some real friends. If we're talking about church, man, you may not know it.
Yeah.
My father in the ministry is a pastor of a church down there called Reed
Yeah, yeah.
Temple AME Church, which is not in Baltimore. It's actually in Glendale, I think is
Glendale.
the
Okay.
name. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a large church down there, and so really, uh, the foundation that you stand on, I also stand on, and so I
Yeah.
want to honor that. So feel free to share freely. This is safe space to do
Okay.
that.
Definitely.
Even it would be safe space regardless because of certain
Yeah.
ones,
Yeah. Sometimes it just come
but
out.
it's safe space. You understand?
I
And
understand.
so feel free to share from that perspective
Gotcha.
with any type of, you know, just be free because I
Gotcha.
think that that's important. Uh,
Absolutely.
it's important partially because sometimes we feel like when we come into spaces like these, we can't be as potent of a version of ourselves. We
Absolutely.
learn that in corporate spaces too, where you have to kind of leave a piece
Yes.
of yourself outside of the conversation. We don't want
Yeah.
none of that here. All right. And
Yeah.
so just be free in that way.
I
Um,
appreciate it.
let's talk about, if I can, because
Yeah.
I'll have you back. I'm really interested in the family conversation. We'll talk about that
Okay.
later.
Yeah.
But talk to me about fitness and how you
Yeah.
kind of arrived at that. Right now, you have this profile picture up that's got you looking like the Hulk on 10. Okay, which is dope, and it takes commitment to be able to get there and to
Yeah.
be there at your age with the other skill sets that I know we haven't mentioned yet. But how did you get there, and what kind of made you jump to that as a passion? Please.
Oh man. Well, first I appreciate the compliment. Um, people have been saying hawk recently, and I can't see it, but I'm a basketball player, so I was always thin growing up. So now people calling me a defensive lineman, a hawk. I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. But it all started back. I just played all sports. My dad had me in all sports. I did karate, taekwondo, Muay Thai, baseball, football, basketball. I found love in basketball. I'd say probably around like the age 11, 12, I started getting better. Went to, played varsity all 4 years, went to Division 3 and Division 2 um, colleges, universities, and played basketball. Had the opportunity to play in NCAA, so that was great. But then something wasn't fulfilling me because I looked at my body and I got made fun of. I was a little skinny, I was a little thin. So I would hear that noise, and so I started going to the gym back in 2017, and fast forward to now, it's just all been consistency. We can add all this other secret sauce, all this other type of stuff, but it's just been consistency. And I wanted to see a version of myself that I'm seeing now, but I'd say I'm still like 30-40% of the way, man. It never ends. So
Yeah, I have a similar story in the sense of when I was younger, I was a chubby kid,
oh wow.
chubby, just chubby. It was, I mean, so I grew up in Compton,
Okay.
and so I resonate a lot with some of the impressions that people have about where you grow up,
Hmm.
as it relates to some of the ways that people think they have it understood, but
Hmm.
they really don't. I think Compton gets a bad rap in ways that it
Yeah.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I didn't grow up in an area that is not well known. It's definitely
We
well
know
known.
about Compton.
It's definitely well known. But I don't want to draw attention to that because
Yeah.
there's some powerful things that come out of that.
Yeah.
You look at, so I don't want to sort of dig in there. But I was a chubby kid, so chubby. They used to call me the Pillsbury Doughboy. Believe it or not.
Oh, they called you the Pillsbury. No way. That's the
Yeah,
first.
yeah, yeah. I don't even know. I mean, you're 26, so you may not know the Pillsbury Doughboy, but this is a little white character, and
I
he
do.
had a apron on. Yeah, that
Mhm.
guy. And I remember being stood up in front of the classroom
Wow.
because when they made fun of me, I would get angry. So I'm coming. I'm gonna help you have something to not laugh about. And one of the tools that they used to try to help me exercise restraint was to stand me in front of the class and poke me in the stomach and make me make the noise.
Wow.
Um, and and I remember the class laughing at me, and I remember having to block out all the noise, right?
Hmm.
Uh, I remember all of the cute guys getting all the girls. So you understand in sports, as somebody who played advanced and high level, uh, athletes are seen as commodities,
Yeah.
and sometimes that impacts how people approach you, particularly ladies. I ain't
Yeah.
saying nothing, but I do know that there are some advantages to having sisters. I had no sisters, but they could give you the game, though. You
Definitely
understand?
is.
They'll help you
It
to
definitely is
understand
an advantage.
the
Yes.
how-to of it all, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Uh, or at least how to interact in
Yeah.
environments where there may be some approaches that take place. I
Yes.
imagine that. If
Mhm.
but salute to your sisters, right? But I say all of that to say these experiences shape where we are today. I was
Yeah.
like, I am not. Once I figured out that I could do it, I never knew I could do it.
Yeah.
I said, I am not. I could do it. I never knew I could be in the shape that I'm in. I thought I was always going to be the chubby kid.
Right.
And in my head, see, I imagine you had this too. This is my question. I'm getting to the question.
Mhm.
In my head, I'm still the chubby kid. So my question to you is, do you still deal with some of the, backlog of being the skinny kid? And does that give you some kind of fuel to kind of keep doing what you do?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They call it body dysmorphia. That's what they say. But for me, I don't think I see myself as a skinny guy anymore. I'm obviously a lot larger. I've put on a lot more muscle mass. To give you some perspective, I was 160 pounds soaking wet probably in 2018. Now I'm about 222. But body fat percentage fluctuates. But that's besides the point. I still see myself, like you said, in the back of my mind as that skinny kid. And before, like the last thing I said from my last comment or the last question you asked me was, and I'm only 30% the way there. Sometimes the percentages move a little bit faster some years, sometimes they don't. But I don't ever stop because I understand where I came from. And at the end of the day, that keeps me motivated, and that makes me want to help other people's like me when I was at that point, in my life.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I think the signature statement, if I could type something into the chat, if I could put it in the space, it would be, remember where you came from. Like,
Yeah.
that's a strong statement, man.
Yeah, it is.
I think when you get to the place that you're at, and I'm going to talk to you about body fat as well, because that's a
Yeah.
great conversation.
Yeah.
People think that you are where you've always been. That is so far from the truth. They look and they're like, oh, I done found somebody who always been this way. If you understood.
He's genetically like that, he's got the African American genes. That's how he is.
Yeah. No, sir. Not even close.
No.
So, random question I'm pulling out the air. Lessons that you've learned along the way that you think are absolutely central to achieving at a high level in fitness.
Mhm.
How would you respond to that?
I would say keep it simple. So easily in the beginning of your journey and my journey, I'm saying these are things that I've done. I didn't keep things simple. I wanted to do cardio and do compound lifts on the same day at a high pace, meaning like I'm doing 1 minute of sprinting and then I'm trying to do deadlifts. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong, but to build muscle, I can't do that. So keeping it simple, meaning, hey, let me structure my workout to work out as a bodybuilder if I want to build muscle. So I'm doing heavy weights, low sets every day, 3 to 4 times a week. And I'm not doing no more than 4 to 5 workouts. Now, depending on what you want to do, if you're going to be a bodybuilder or if you're a CrossFit, you got to switch it up. But if you just want to build muscle, keep it simple. And that's one of the lessons that I've learned. Another lesson that I've learned is, it's 70%, I'd say 80% diet. And that's just pretty much what it is at the end of the day. Like I can keep it as simple as that. You can work out as much as you want to, but it's really 80% diet.
Bro, I would say that thing is 90% diet. So I got on scale last week. And I get on the in-body scale. which gives you a whole bunch of readings,
Yeah.
including your metabolic rate,
Yeah.
and it gives you your weight, and it gives you your
BMI.
skeletal mass.
Oh, skeletal mass. Oh, wow.
And then it gives you your body fat percentage, and it rates it in 3. It also gives you a picture of the body, and in 5 quadrants, it tells you where your weight is.
Wow.
So it tells you how much weight is in your trunk. It tells you how much weight is in your right arm, your left arm, your right leg, your left leg. You get all of these metrics. Yeah. If you haven't gotten to get that,
I'm gonna have to hit you up offline for that one.
Yeah. So I got that reading. It comes with it's a very expensive machine. It comes with a membership at a gym. I do not own one. It costs $10,000 to get that. That's how much this thing costs. It said 10 G's. I said, what?
Oh, wow.
You are tripping. Now, if I wanted, to, I said, well, at least I know what the investment is. If I wanted to do personal training at a high level, and I wanted to include anytime you need that reading as a part of my service, but maybe there's a used one. Maybe there's a gym that's closing. You understand? I mean, there's a whole bunch of ways to do this.
Yeah, we talking business.
Just to get the hands on that. However, that thing read, it messed me up. I got on it. I want to say it was Friday. It was Wednesday. Or maybe Tuesday. And was it Tuesday? I feel like it had to be Tuesday. And that thing read 3% body fat. I looked at that thing. I said, that's not possible. I said, I'm going to tell you, I'm be honest with you. Now, y'all don't laugh at me. Don't talk about me. I said, oh my God, I'm dying. That's literally what I said to myself. I said, there is no way. There must be something inside of me eating that I don't know about. When I started my fitness journey, which was like 2.5 years ago, I was at 19.2%. Right.
Which is still not bad. That's
yeah. Some people would love to have that.
Yeah.
But to get the 3%,
3%
feels really elite. Like it feels like top athletes are there. The ones that are, and I'm not saying please don't misread what I'm saying.
Well, you are.
I'm saying that there are some athletes when they hear 3%. Let me tell you. So I was in the spot, and I'm gonna say some shut up because now I got long with it. There was a guy, a person who's in the NFL right now, and he happened to walk in. Because my gym, they was like, "Hey man, there's this guy that's coming through. You got to meet him." And he plays for the Texans now. But he may be a defensive back. Yeah, I think so. I want to say cornerback, defensive back. Those are two different things. Because I know if y'all you about to get me in trouble. But anyways, I told him, man, and he was like, "Wow, man, you know that's amazing," because it is mostly diet that gets you there. I cannot work myself out to that. Your body does something real funny at a space where you've reached. I don't want to say capacity, but your fitness is at a level that's just you there. So you know you know how to do what you know how to do,
right? And
so your body adjusts to that. And the rest of it is fitness taking you into a more lean version.
Yeah.
So when you think about, and so you do online coaching.
Yeah.
When somebody comes to you, so I wanted to say that to honor the body fat percentage conversation. Before I ask my next question, have you struggled to manage that? Like, is that something that you use as a metric of if you're headed in the right direction or not? Body fat percentage.
I've gotten my body fat percentage calculated, I'd say a few times. It has not, I'll say this, it has not skated me on to the wrong path of my mindset of, hey, this is where I need to go based on my body mass, my body fat percentage. No, it hasn't. Is this something I still pay attention to? Yes. I'm headed closer to 30. And as you know, once you leave that 21, 22 range, you can't just eat anything that you want. So now I'm looking at my nutrition and seeing what I need to put in my body. That's first before even my body fat percentage. Your body fat percentage is just a byproduct of the nutritious meals that you eat. And so when I'm training folks, like that's the first thing we're going over. What are you eating? What are you going through mentally? Are you getting enough sleep? I don't want to answer all the questions.
Stop.
I don't want to answer all the questions.
You dropped a major bar. Please say it again. You said you asked them what?
I said I asked them, what are you eating? How are you mentally? And are you getting enough sleep?
Why is that important?
That is so important because if you know that nutrition aids to our longevity, but stress kills us too. Stress being in our heads. Of course, there's mental diseases that are becoming more prevalent, but stress in general kills us. It dwindles our hair. It drains us of our energy. And if we don't get enough sleep, I mean, we're already dying, but you're just accelerating the process at that point.
So you mean to tell me I could be eating right and I could be working out, but if my stress is high and I'm not sleeping, that's fighting against some of those results?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I will tell you, it's because I've tried to do it. I will tell you in my past life, and this will probably even open up more questions. I used to, my family on my mom's side owned a nightclub downtown Baltimore. It was a very popular nightclub. I won't say the name, but my grandfather owned it in the 80s. He passed away sadly in 2014. My mom took over, and I came in as an 18-year-old managing the nightclub. And so I worked at a nightclub from Thursday to Sunday from 10 to 2 or 12 to 5.
I do have questions.
And through that, I was training. I was nowhere near being a online coach or CPT, but I went through that phase of my life where I saw, hey, I'm stagnant and I didn't see myself grow. Yeah, I got more muscular, but that doesn't mean you're healthy. That doesn't mean that you're eating right. That doesn't mean and you're definitely not getting any sleep. So when I noticed I was going through that phase of my life, I noticed a lot of stagnance in my journey. And there will be times where you will be stagnant. It just will be. So.
Yeah, that happened to me this week, man. Honestly, if I'm honest, when I said the week was difficult, I think I said that earlier. My data was impacted by the amount of sleep I was getting. I was getting 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
Because I was getting in early morning, and I was waking up early morning because you still got to get up.
You got to get up and do what you got to do. Like,
let me just say this to y'all who are watching. There are some secrets and stuff that are not affiliated with the gym or the kitchen that will help you. One of them is you got to wake up. Like you can't be sleeping in if you're going to prioritize your wellness and your fitness. Now, getting up is directly tied to going to sleep, but you still have to make a decision. Like sometimes you can't make both those decisions at the same time. Sometimes you got to either decide to get up or you got to decide to go to sleep. Trying to do both of those at the same time might be an obstacle for some people, as it was for me. Where it is like, I know I'm gonna get up regardless of when I go to sleep. Now, the more I make that decision, the more I had to make some decisions about when I went to sleep. Because I was like, this getting up is getting harder because I'm not going to sleep, you know. But those small things. And then what Nate said when he said, hey man, you got to make some decisions about what stresses you out. Right? Because stress impacts, like, so people think I'm gonna go to the gym and let stress out. Well, you already have enough stress. As it is. We don't even get into the demographics of who you are, what you look like, where you work at, okay, the country you live in. Let me just put that off to the side there. We don't want to get into that. But I stress often. So let me give you an opportunity, extend to you an opportunity to give me some advice as a coach when I'm stressing. What can I do? Like, what would you say to me? I'm your client. I'm stressing. I'm stressing. I got stress weight. I got stress handles. I got stress everywhere. What do you say to me?
Well, I would say if I was talking to a client, I would tell them to put themselves in nature. I like to ground myself in nature a lot. I like to either be near water or somewhere with fresh grass where I can actually like sit down and get some sun. Realize the things that you're stressing about are just temporary. That's what I tell a lot of folks. Not to say you won't stress about it, because it could be a disease. It could be a death in the family. But how we are built, how God has created us, is that eventually we just will relinquish it. We can choose to relinquish it at a sooner date, or we'll eventually stop thinking about it on a later date. So that's what I tell my clients, or even myself. I was like, hey, I sit down, I get in nature, I get in the sun, I'm like, this is temporary.
Wait, go further. Why nature? What is nature doing for you? Not like that.
Well, nature is where we come from and where we go. And at the end of the day, these are things that God created, and being one with those things that God has created is the most beautiful thing from perspective, but also a spiritual level. You feel it running through you. And it's tough to do it when we have all this radiation from our cell phones. Even me, I'm always on the phone, and I'm gonna leave this. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but take the phones out your pockets. Take it away from anywhere, any body part you're going to be using frequently outside of your hands, because our hands have very tough skin. But do not leave your phone near any of your body parts, because that radiation is not helping you. But that's the reason why you get into nature, because when we're always around electricity, and two, spiritually, is just better for you.
Yeah, so I'm still gonna go there. Like, I'm from California. I don't know about, like, what do you mean nature, right? So you're saying nature, and I think you're saying to me, like, I know what nature is. I may not know even what nature is. Do you understand what I'm saying? So help me, like, take me to, like, give me some recommendations about where I can go to get some nature.
Okay, so I mean, if you were in a place like Cali, I probably wouldn't say the beach, because the beach is packed. I'd find some off-road trail, somewhere where you got greenery. Some places have more greenery than others. I'm from Maryland, so there's a lot of greenery. We're near certain bays as well. So seafood is big around here, but I like to be around water and a trail, preferably somewhere where you can still have some physical activity without your phone, without music, just allowing yourself to be one with nature spiritually. So I would get around something like that, where you could smell the trees, hear the water, somewhere where there aren't a lot of people.
It's helpful, Nate. I'm saying, and I think this is really key, because you dropping bars. I'm like, nature. That could be, I mean, it's so interesting, man, because we have places like Home Depot. I'm not being facetious with y'all. They got a whole plant section, and I've seen people. No, I'm for real. I've seen people just walk through there, just to get the fragrances, just to see how nature shows up in different ways.
Wow.
Right? There are these places called nurseries. Do you know what a nursery is?
Oh yeah.
Okay, for sure. I mean, I'm just, no offense. You go to a nursery, just be around. I mean, I think for me, that opens up a bunch of, like, oh, okay, that's what you mean, right? I know now people are sleeping to sounds, right?
Oh yeah,
They'll put water in their ear, or they'll put nature sounds. Like, I have a young daughter who's 5, and there's a setting on the sound machine that sounds like outside, birds chirping, trees rustling, so she can go to sleep to that, right? I imagine that contributes as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a big jazz lofi beats guy. I mean,
what?
Oh my gosh.
Man,
like when I'm working, put some jazz lofi beats on. If I'm falling asleep, there's the good study music, lofi beats. And like you said, just the sounds of water relaxes people. So take yourself outside of your physical self, right? And acquire and put it around some type of nature aspect. It could be on YouTube, it could be outside. So I see where you were going with that. It doesn't necessarily have to be specifically, hey, you got to walk outside and get on the ground. But no, be around nature, close your eyes, and tell yourself that this is temporary. And that's usually my simple, because I like to keep things simple. That's just my simple advice for stress. It's not that easy all the time, but just simple.
So I got 2 final questions, and we're gonna try to do rapid fire.
Yeah.
These are gonna be rapid fire. I want to know how you stay motivated, right? And then the last thing, like, what keeps you going? And then the last thing that I want you to reflect on is, somebody is 26, right now. And they're watching. They're like, man, what? How did he get there so early?
Mm.
Right? What's he doing differently, man?
Yeah.
Now, full disclosure, I recognize that there is a lot of grace in this story, right? Where the lower order steps.
Yeah.
But I'd love for you to answer those two questions just in brief, and then we'll wrap.
Okay. First question was, what keeps me motivated?
How do you stay motivated?
Yeah. What keeps me motivated? Sorry. What keeps me motivated is that I love myself. I wake up every day and I thank God for waking me up this morning. But me, myself, I love myself. So when I look in the mirror in the morning and I see something's off, I have to fix it. You could say that's a perfectionist mindset, but I believe working out is a form of loving yourself. And you guys see the short videos, or you see the profile pictures, which I appreciate is nice. But at the end of the day, I'm not doing it just for the look. I'm doing it because I genuinely love myself. And I know that I want to increase my longevity and I want to look good. And I want to be able to show and teach people how I got here, because there was one time where I was the person that didn't know how to get to this position. So that's what motivates me. Secondly, the question was, what am I doing different as a 26-year-old? I feel like that's still young, but at the same time, not like we're on the totem, like the ladder of, hey, we're getting to our 30s, but we're still young. And for me, it's just about preparation and planning. I've just been blessed to have great parents. Everyone can't be in the same situation as me, but in your 20s, you have to plan and prepare for your older self. And I'm not wasting my time on going out to parties. I did work in a nightclub, but I didn't party. So that was 7 years of working somewhere, but not necessarily having fun. But I don't prioritize fun. I prioritize investing. I prioritize my health, and I prioritize my work. And you need a vehicle starting out, whether that's a job or whether that's some way of starting your own business that can explode. But you need a vehicle that's going to get you ahead than everybody else that's in their 20s. And that's what I'm focused on.
Yo, y'all heard it here, man. I don't know if y'all realize it, but Nate was dropping all kinds of bars, man. I want to appreciate you for being on. Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me on pretty much every social media at Nate Chambers Jr. My name will pop up. I've got some heat coming on the way as far as some photography and opening up a website for clients. And now that I'm a certified personal trainer, I will be coming to a gym near you. So that could be any gym. So I appreciate you for having me, though, Doctor.
Absolutely, man. Listen, if I come to Baltimore, we got to get in the gym together. That's the commitment. Listen, I would love to be able to work out with you sometime, and I appreciate you for getting on. Y'all make sure that y'all go follow this good brother and keep up with what he's doing. If you're looking for an online coach, I'm sure that he would receive your inquiry well if you had any questions to get with him. Thank you so much. And all right, family, that's a wrap for this session of Next Level Conversations. But remember, elevation does not stop here. Apply what you've learned, challenge yourself, and keep pushing towards your next level. If this conversation resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, subscribe, stay locked in for the next one. Keep moving, keep growing. And if you're climbing, I'll see you at the top.